Dear students, in the last class we arrived at the expression for the eigenvalue and also the eigenfunction. As I told you in the previous classes, the expression for the eigenvalue and eigenfunction requires three parts of the derivations. Two parts were completed and the next part I am taking up in this class. Here in this lecture, I want to recall the points which I discussed in the last class. By taking the Schrodinger's equation, we could derive the expression for the eigenvalue by assuming that a particle is inside the potential well, which is free to move anywhere within the potential well so that it can have zero potential energy. For that reason, in this equation, V is omitted and 8 pi square me psi by h square is remained. And by comparing this equation with the classical equations, this 8 pi square me by h square is replaced with the symbol k square, where k is the wave number. This was taught, and since it is a second order differential equation, a possible solution is psi is equal to a sin kx plus b cos kx, where b cos kx is the second term, and in the next part, by applying the boundary conditions, we could get the values of the arbitrarily chosen constants a and b. What are the boundary conditions? At the first boundary, that is in the point, that is at the point where the particle starts moving, x is taken as 0. At the same point, the wave function is also 0. Due to non-availability of particle inside the well, inside the wall of the well, we take this boundary condition, and substituting these values, we could get the value of b equal to 0. And the second boundary condition, that at x equal to a, psi is again 0. On putting this value, we could get the expression for a sin ka is equal to 0. Here, in order to satisfy this equation, either a must be taken as 0 or sin ka must be 0, but a equal to 0 is not an acceptable solution because this b is already made 0. If both a and b are zeros in this equation, I mean in the expression for the solution, psi is equal to a sin kx plus b cos kx, what happens? The wave function becomes 0 for all values of x, which is practically not possible. Therefore, sin ka is equal to 0 is the possible and necessary condition. And that is true if ka is equal to n pi, where n may be 0 or 1 or 2, 3, 4, etc. N should not be 0. In fact, I will tell you about that fact at a later stage. So, ka is equal to n pi. For all integer multiple of pi, this sin ka becomes 0. So that ka is n pi and k is n pi by a. And in the previous slide, I had taken k square as 8 pi square me by h square. Here you are getting k square n square pi square by a square. On equating, you will get this equation, and on simplifying, you will get the expression for energy. This was completed in the previous class. And also, by putting the different values of n, we could get the different values of energy. These are eigenvalues of the particle, means energy values of the particle at the different energy states. So first energy state is this one, the 0 point energy state, that is the ground state. And for the first excited state, the energy value is 2 square h square by 8m square, because n is 2 for the first excited state, and for the second excited state, n value is 3. Therefore, by putting the n value 3, we have got the expression for energy for the particle in the which energy state? The second excited state. In this way, you can get a number of energy values for various energy values, And these energy values which we have calculated here indicate clearly that when the particle is in the bound state, when it is bound to a physical system, its energy values are quantized or discrete. These are the points discussed in the previous class. And also we had discussed about the determination of A value, because A value is still unknown in the solution. So in order to get the value of A, what we did, we considered the Max-Born's equation. So this equation gives that the probability of finding the particle within the physical system is 100%. Since we have assumed that the particle is in the potential well, probability should be 100%. In that case, here in this equation, the integration of mod psi square dx must be equal to 1 if the probability is 100%. And the lower limit is 0 and upper limit is a, because we are taking the particle movement between x value 0 and a. Therefore, lower limit and upper limit are respectively 0 and a. The same is applied here. And in the place of psi, we need to substitute the expression for this wave function, a sin n pi x by a. That is done. And here the integration becomes simpler if we take sin square theta formula. Sin square theta is equal to 1 minus cos 2 theta divided by 2. The same is applied here. A square is taken outside as it is constant, and sin square n pi x by a can be expressed as 1 minus cos 2 n pi x by a. Here it is like 1 minus cos 2 theta and divided by 2, that is taken outside here. Now in the next step, we have to multiply dx. On multiplying dx with 1, what do we get? You will get integration from 0 to a dx. And on multiplying the same dx with the second term, we will get cos 2n pi x by a into dx. Now let us integrate. Integration of dx gives you x, and integration of cosine function gives you sine function. Sine 2n pi x by a divided by integration of this 2n pi x by a gives you 2n pi divided by a. 2n pi divided by a is there. And now let us apply the limits. Upper limit application at the point at the position of x gives you a, and lower limit gives you 0. Similarly, if you apply the lower limit for the place of x becomes a. So if x becomes a, what happens? This a cancels. If a cancels, sin 2n pi remains. If sin 2n pi remains, for all values of n is an integer, sin 2n pi becomes 0. That means by putting the upper limit, you will get sine function 0 and lower limit 0. If you write 0 in the place of x, it becomes sine 0. So sine 0 is also 0. That means for both the upper and lower limits, sine function takes 0 value. That is what we have written. And a square divided by 2 into small letter a is therefore equal to 1, and a is equal to square root of 2 by a. On simplifying, you will get it. So this is the value of a, and b was determined, it was 0. And wave function psi is equal to square root of 2 by a sin n pi by a into x. This is the correct general solution for the wave function. This is the expression for the eigenfunction. And in the third part of the derivation, we need to derive the expression for the probability function for the different energy levels, and also eigenvalues. Eigenvalues we have already calculated, so no need to repeat. Let us discuss the different values of the psi and mod psi square. Why should we take mod psi square? Because mod psi square is the probability function. According to Max Born, psi may be real or complex. So that if you take the modulus of psi and square of the modulus of psi, that gives you the real solution and non-negative solution. That is the reason why mod psi square is having its own importance in describing the or in determining the probability of finding a particle within a physical system. Right. Let us first consider the particle in the ground state. If the particle is in the ground state, what should be the value of n? N is equal to 1. So when we put n is equal to 1, the wave function psi, which I showed in the previous part, it is in fact psi is equal to square root of 2 by a sin n pi into x divided by a. So where n represent an integer. I had told you in one of the classes that n should not be 0 because 0 value of n makes energy also 0. Total energy is 0, which is practically not possible. For every particle, total energy is always non-zero. Therefore, n cannot be 0. The lowest value of n is 1, that is for the ground state. Hence, we take n is equal to 1 first. On putting n equal to 1 in this equation, what do we get? This is the expression. And let us consider different values of x. Because when we take the potential well, here the potential well, x value varies from 0 to a. You can imagine infinite number of x values. X equal to a by 3, a by 4, a by 5, a by 6, a by 7, a by 10, etc, etc, etc. So it is possible to get a number of x values. Let us consider a few for our simplicity sake. In case x is equal to 0, for both x equal to 0 and a in this equation, psi becomes 0. You can observe it. If x equal to 0, it becomes sin 0. Therefore, psi is 0. If you put x equal to a cancels this a, so that sin pi remains. Sin pi is also 0. Therefore, psi becomes 0. If psi is 0, mod psi square is also 0. So that for both x equal to 0 and a, psi value and mod psi square value both are 0. And for x equal to a by 2, that is at the midpoint of the potential well here, mod psi square, what would be the value? We will observe psi. First of all, let me take the psi value. It is taken as psi 1 for the ground state. Anyway, so the psi value is equal to root 2 by a sin pi by a into a by 2. Why I am taking a by 2? Because x value is assumed to be a by 2. If a is cancelled, sin pi by 2 remains. Sin pi by 2 means 1. Therefore, that psi value is equal to root 2 by a and sin pi by 2. That is well known. It's 1. And mod psi square is equal to 2 by a. Okay, this is one calculation. Now, let us plot these values by assuming that the potential well as a graph. So along the y-axis, I am taking psi value, and along the x-axis, as usual, x values. And here you can observe that for the point x equal to 0, the psi value was 0. It is shown here. And for x equal to a by 2, psi value is maximum, that is root 2 by a. Maximum value can be imagined to be at this position. This may be the maximum value. And for x equal to a, that is for this value of x, this what is that? The psi value is 0 as indicated here for x equal to a. Mod psi square is also 0, of course. Anyway, here you can observe that the wave function is varying in such a way that it increases initially, reaches a maximum at x equal to a by 2 and comes back to 0. Right. And here for the mod psi square, if I plot mod psi square along y-axis, and x value along x-axis, what do we get? You have already understood that at x equal to 0, mod psi square is 0. So you will get 1 point here. Similarly, for x equal to a, you will get mod psi square 0 again. That means here this point. But for x equal to a by 2, for this value, mod psi square is 2 by a, means it is maximum. So that point is appeared. So on plotting the graph, you will get a curve of this kind. This indicates that mod psi square is maximum at the center when the particle is in the ground state, because I have taken n equal to 1. It suggests that the particle, when it is in the ground state, it is having maximum probability to exist at the center of the potential well. This is the inference of this calculation. Let me go to next part, wherein I take n is equal to 2. Means the particle is in the first excited state. If n is equal to 2, the wave function becomes square root of 2 by a sine 2 pi x by a. And for both x1 is equal to 0 and x, you need not worry about these subscripts. X value equal to 0 and x value equal to a. What do you get? You will get psi value 0. Okay, psi value is 0. Why? Because if 0 is put and a is put here, as observed in the previous part of discussion, that psi becomes 0, mod psi square is also 0. Right. And for other values of x, let us try for a by 4, a by 2, 3a by 4, because they are important as there is maximum variation at these points. So at these points, the value at x equal to a by 4, for example, this value means in the place of, this is actually 2 by a into a by 4. I am putting the value of x. A cancels, and of course pi is there in the equation because we have 2 pi here. 2 pi into a by 4 divided by a cancels. 2 by 4 means pi by 2 remains. Sin pi by 2 is equal to 1. Therefore, you will get psi value equal to square root of 2 by a. And similarly, if you put x equal to a by 2, here it is pi, 2 pi into a divided by 2. A by 2 is taken in the place of x. So 2 cancels, a also cancels, sin pi remains. So that psi value is equal to 0 because sin pi is 0. Similarly, for x equal to 3a by 4, psi value is what? It is 2 pi into 3a by 4. This is in the place of x. A cancels, 2 2s are 4. Therefore, you will get 3 pi by 2. Sin 3 pi by 2 is minus 1. Therefore, you will get this one, psi value equal to how much? Minus root 2 by a. And mod psi square becomes positive. In each case, modulus of those same psi values are determined. Right? If we plot all these values, what do we get? Let us observe. If we plot the values, we will get like this. The wave function that is taken along y-axis, you have observed that for x equal to 0, psi was 0. Therefore, I have taken the point here. And for x equal to a by 4, psi is maximum, that is root 2 by a, that is assumed to be here. And for x equal to a by 2, that is at the midpoint, the value of psi again becomes 0. Therefore, point is taken here. And then for 3a by 4 value of x, it is negative maximum. Psi is minus root 2 by a. Therefore, you will get negative point here. We have assumed that negative point minus root 2 by a is here. And for x equal to a, again psi is 0. So this is what we have got. So the variation of psi value is sinusoidal type of curve. And if you plot mod psi square, what do you get? Mod psi square taken along y-axis and x value along x-axis. And at x equal to 0, psi square is 0. At x equal to a by 2, it is 2 by a, that is maximum. At x equal to a by 4. And at x equal to a by 2, it is 0. So that 0 point is taken. At x equal to 3a by 4, it is again maximum root 2, only 2 by a. But it is positive because psi was minus root 2 by a. On squaring, the negative sign becomes positive. Therefore, we get this value in the positive side. Therefore, you are getting two peaks. Two peaks are observed. For x equal to a, it is 0. I mean, the mod psi square value is 0. So, on plotting the graph, you will get the maxima of this type. This indicates that when the particle is in the first excited state, there are two probabilities. The maximum probability of finding that particle is once at a by 4 and next at 3a by 4. So when a particle goes to higher and higher energy levels, the probability of finding that particle also increases. When it is in the ground state, probability of finding the particle is only at the center of the potential well, whereas when the particle is in the excited state, first excited state, there are two probabilities. In the similar way, if you take n value equal to 2, that is, if the particle is assumed to be in the second excited state, if n is equal to 3, I have to say, if n is equal to 3, particle is in the second excited state, there you will get 3 peaks in this plot. That indicates that the probability of finding the particle is at 3 different positions when the particle is in the second excited state. So this is the inference of the calculation, and this completes this particular calculation, I mean the derivation. These are the 3 parts that you need to learn. And the application of the Schrodinger's equation is possible for a free particle. If the particle is totally free from all kinds of fields and forces, then it is known as the free particle. In the previous derivation, what did I say? The particle is bound to a physical system. If the particle is bound to a physical system like a potential well, like an electron binding to the atom, if the particle is bound to a physical system, energy values are quantized, and that will have the boundaries also. But this particle, the free particle which I am considering now, doesn't have the boundaries. Its boundaries extend from minus infinity to plus infinity. That is what is shown in this diagram. I am showing that the particle is having the freedom to move from minus infinity to plus infinity. If there is such a particle, then you cannot say that the particle is having certain boundaries. In the previous problem, we had taken the boundary conditions. At x equal to 0, psi was 0. At x equal to a, psi was 0. But how can I define such boundary conditions for a free particle? It is impossible, because the boundaries do not exist. It can be extended from minus infinity to plus infinity. It is indefinite. In that case, it is not possible to consider the boundary conditions. Then how to estimate the energy values? Let us check. As we did in the previous part of the calculations, here also we take the Schrodinger's equation, d square psi by dx square plus 8 pi square m e minus v psi by h square equal to 0. And since it is the free particle means, as I mentioned, it is the one which is free from all kinds of fields and forces. It is free from the gravitational force, it is free from the magnetic fields, it is free from the electrostatic force of attraction or repulsion. Only such a particle is said to be free. It doesn't have any binding, it doesn't have any restrictions. Such a particle is the free particle, and such particle, since it can move from anywhere to anywhere with any velocity, its potential energy need not be high. It is 0. Mathematically, it can be assumed to be 0, because the particle during the motion can have higher kinetic energy as compared to the potential energy. So mathematically, we have treated that as 0. Therefore, we got this expression, and by comparing it with the classical physics, as I mentioned in the previous derivation, we take 8 pi square e by h square as k square. And for the second order differential equation, we can take the solution which I described in the previous part of calculation. That is a sin kx plus b cos kx. Here a and b are arbitrary constants whose values can be determined only by knowing the boundary conditions. But boundaries do not exist for the particle. When you don't have the boundary conditions, you cannot determine the a and b values. Since A and B values cannot be determined, it is not possible to determine the K value. In the previous calculation, K values was found to be n pi by A. K was equal to n pi by A. That means the K value could be obtained by knowing the dimensions or the size of the potential well or size of the physical system. A was the width of the potential well in the previous calculation. But how to define this A now? You cannot define because it can tend to infinity. A may be anything. So K need not be quantized. The equation K equal to n pi by A need not be valid for a free particle. K can have continuous values. And if you cannot determine the expression for K or the values of A and B by not knowing the boundary conditions, we cannot continue the calculation of or derivation of expression for energy from this point. So the other way which we are left with is the rearrangement of this equation. On rearranging, what do you get? E is equal to k square h square by 8 pi square m. So that energy depends on K value, and K of course depends on the width of the potential which is indefinite. Since K is indefinite, means it can have any value. Energy also may be anything, means energy can be continuous. So that continuous energy values are possible for a particle when it is not bound to a system. This is the inference of this calculation. So from the previous derivation, you could understand that when the particle is bound to a physical system, it will have the quantized energy values. If the ground state energy value is E naught, next allowed energy is 4 E naught. The next higher value is 9 E naught. But here what is happening? You cannot get E naught, E is equal to E naught or 3 E naught or 5 E naught. You can get any value because the particle is not bound to any physical system. In such a case, when the particle is free from all kinds of fields and forces, you can conclude that the particle can have any set of energy values. Means energy values can be continuous, need not be discrete or quantized. So this completes the discussion on the module 1, and in the next class we will discuss about the problems related to this particular module. And there are few self-learning topics. Please go through the notes and try to understand the concepts.